Hey guys, and welcome to the 100th episode of Semajical Reviews. And I'm going to do something I've never done on the show before. Not just review one film in a franchise, but an entire franchise of films. And, well, this was originally meant to be the Land Before Time franchise, but I had trouble when it came to the second film getting the disc to play properly. So, all this is heavy. I've changed it to the Back to the Future films. Now, there are 3 films in this series, and therefore shouldn't be too big of a chore to do. So, without further ado, let's get in with it. Let's get on with it, shall we? So, the obvious place to start is at the beginning. Obviously. So let's jump back in time to 1985 when a film called Back to the Future hit the silver screen. Now, for those who don't know what Back to the Future is, you've come to the right place because I'm about to describe the film to you. Also, spoilers ahead if you've never seen the film before. Marty McFly is a 17-year-old high school student whose life is about to change forever. He starts out with, well, not a not so perfect life. He has an uncle in prison. He is an alcoholic mother and a dweeby father. So he comes from a dysfunctional family. Now, his dad's always being confronted by Biff Tannen, who happens to be his supervisor. His brother and sister aren't doing too good for themselves either, and his girlfriend Jennifer is the only one trying to encourage his music career. Now, Marty's life changes forever at 1:15 a.m. at the Twin Pines Mall on the 26th of October 1985, when his friend, Dr. Emmett L. Brown, aka the Doc, enlists his help with an experiment. He has converted a DeLorean into a time machine, and this was temporal experiment number 1, which involved him sending Einstein 1 minute into the future to test the time machine out. And when it succeeds, he then goes to explain to us how it actually works. Also tell us about the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible. Now, in a bid to outrun Libyan nationalists, Marty jumps aboard the DeLorean after it has been set to November 12, 1955, and ends up catapulted back to that date, which was the day Doc Brown came up with the flux capacitor in the first place. Now, while in 1955, he prevents his parents' first meeting, thus preventing his own birth. And now he has to make sure they get together and fall in love, otherwise he and his siblings will never exist. And so he has to do everything he can to ensure they meet. Because after he jumps in front of Lorraine's dad's car, she gets the hots for him. Ugh! Okay. Now, the actors playing the characters. Okay, this film stars Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, the teenager who ends up stuck out of his own time and having to find a way home. That is the other plot of the film. Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, the younger version of whom Marty enlists the help of. Leah Thompson as Lorraine Baines / McFly, Marty's mother. And the young version of her in 1955. Claudia Wells as Jennifer Parker, Marty's girlfriend. Who then becomes Elizabeth Shue at the end. Crispin Glover as George McFly. You know, Marty's downtrodden dad. And Thomas Wilson as Biff Tannen, the school bully in 1955 and the still bully in present day 1985. Now, Marty's adventure to find a way to get back to the future means that he has to enlist Doc Brown's help, the 1955 Doc's help, to get back to 1985. As well as making sure his parents meet and fall in love. Now, time travel is never a very easy thing to understand, but that is basically the gist of Back to the Future. You'll hear my opinions of all three of these films at the end of the video. So, on now to part 2. Okay, so Back to the Future Part 2, guys, was the sequel to Back to the Future released in 1989. And this time, Marty McFly travels into the future, 2015, which is now the past, to sort out an event that destroys his whole future family. His son, Marty Jr., also Michael J. Fox in this, is, well, basically talked into committing a robbery with Griff's gang. Griff, by the way, is the son of Biff Tannen. Now, most of the cast in the first film return for this film. Only a couple of them don't. We now have Elizabeth Shue as Jennifer Parker. And Michael J. Fox plays, as I've just pointed out, Marty Jr. and Marlene McFly. And, well, basically, so, yeah, they travel into the future to prevent this, because when Marty, in the original timeline, when Marty Jr. goes to prison, his sister Marlene breaks him out and ends up getting sent down for 20 years. The event sets off a chain reaction that destroys their whole family. So, Doc brings Marty into the future to prevent this from happening, simply by him posing as his future son. Now, okay, some of the predictions they make for the future in this film. Are you ready for this? Self-hydrating pizzas. Not true. Holographic movie marquees. That hasn't come true. Hoverboards. Well, hoverboards as we see them in the film, no. But we did have hoverboards invented in real life. If you can call them that. They're like these scooter platforms, really, that just hover about an inch above the ground. So, no. Not true. The ability to watch 6 channels at the same time on the same TV? No, we can't do that. Self-lacing shoes? No, sorry. We don't have those either. So did one of these predictions even come true? No, because and one last thing they predicted was flying cars. Now, of course, we knew that was never going to happen. And for good reason. But this is just a film, so we shouldn't overthink it. And after Marty buys a sports almanac and is forced to discard it, old Biff gets his hands on it, steals the time machine, goes back in time and gives it to his younger self, creating the alternate timeline they end up arriving back to. Whoops. So Marty has to fix his fuck up now in the future by going back to 1955, the past of this timeline, and making sure to get the almanac from young Biff. And of course, destroy it, thus restoring the timeline. So that's Back to the Future Part 2 in a DeLorean nutshell. On to Part 3. Okay, in Back to the Future Part 3, released in 1990, Marty McFly travels back to the Old West to try and rescue Doc Brown, who is going to get shot over a matter of $80. And this changes the outcome of that to Marty being the one to get shot. He uses the alias Clint Eastwood. Yeah. Now, I actually forgot to mention he gets stuck in 1955 at the end of the last film. So he travels from there back to 1885. And here we also meet Clara Clayton, the school teacher who's just rolled into town, and some ancestors of Marty's, Seamus and Maggie McFly. And so this film is basically a cowboy adventure. That I can actually confidently say to you without ruining too much. We also meet Biff's great-great-grandfather, Buford Mad Dog Tannen. Now, a cliche the second film introduced continues here. Marty hates being called chicken. Every time someone calls him it, he loses his self-control. Here they call him Yellow. It basically means the same thing. You yellow belly. Now, I think, without wanting to ruin anything else for you guys, I'm going to stop talking about the plot of the film here. And now wrap this up by letting you know what I think of the trilogy as a whole. Well, first, each film individually. Back to the Future Part 1 is one of the best films ever made. Back to the Future Part 2, one of the best sequels ever made. And Back to the Future Part 3, well, this is the black sheep of the whole trilogy, but it's still an okay film. So, guys, as a whole, this trilogy is a good trilogy of films. And if I've interested those who haven't seen it yet into watching them, then I've done my job. If you have seen these films before, guys, what did you think? Let me know down in the comments. And this has been the 100th episode of Semajical Reviews. Next time, guys, you'll have to wait and see what the review's going to be of. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a magical time.